Well, you know, one of the unsung heroes of the landscape, I think, are ground covers. And so I asked Jacob to join me to talk about some of the ground covers that you have here at TLC and how to use them. So you've got lots of great options here.
I sure do. Lots of great options here at TLC. I love the varieties we have when it comes to ground covers.
Well, so tell us the different kinds, because they really, I've seen a lot of moneywort and ajuga through the years, and they're great to help reduce weed control, aren't they?
Yes, they are. It's really tough for some weeds to find their way through these dense foliage. This right here is, of course, ajuga. We have more ground covers like moneywort right here. These guys are great in the shade. They're very prolific growers.
Now, how close would you plant these?
These guys right here, they can grow almost a whole foot in diameter in 1 year, especially even last year. I had some planted on the north side of my house. It's a chocolate chip variety. It's smaller leaves than this, but man, did it grow even in that drought. These guys are great because they bloom in the springtime, either early spring or late spring. They have beautiful blue whorled flower structures. This guy right here, as you see, is a little variegated. There's an even more variegated variety here. Lots of different ajugas we sell here.
And then next to the moneywort, what is this? This looks like moneywort, but it's a different variety.
That is actually a euonymus. It's a winter creeper euonymus.
Great.
It's a great evergreen ground cover for shade or sun. It can take both. I love it because it can get a little purplish in the winter, and of course, nice bright green new growth in the spring. Over here we have more, of course, mondo grass, which you guys are very familiar with probably. Mondo grass is great for shade, very dense. It's a beautiful green color. It's great because it doesn't get too tall, no more than 6 inches. Just be careful, in the winter it can get a little bit of winter burn. So in March you can hack them back, get lots of new growth.
Give it a little haircut. And so you've got some ivy here too. Is this regular
just
English ivy?
Regular English ivy, heterohelix. You guys may know of California ivy as well. That's also a heterohelix, so the same stuff, evergreen. Lots of variegations in the California ivy. This right here is just plain green though.
So it looks like you've got some more monkey grass.
Yeah, monkey grass or liriope, also called lily turf. This stuff is great because not only can it grow in full sun or shade, it can also bloom. June and July are usually when it blooms. In a warmer winter, it can bloom a little earlier.
And you would plant that how far apart?
These guys, they spread very densely. You can plant them at least 6 to a foot apart, depending on how long you want it to wait to fill out.
Great border plant.
Yeah, definitely. Border plant, definitely, for lower shrubs. This stuff right here is just a darker green variety. And up here, more euonymus. That can get up to 2 feet tall, but it's still considered a ground cover. It's a moon shadow euonymus.
So kind of a nice weeping habit.
Also grown in sun or shade.
And then next to it, the purple plumbago. That's nice.
Yes, beautiful in the fall when it comes to color. Turns a beautiful orange-red hue, and you get these little blooms in June or July.
And how about coming on down the road here? What else do we have?
Well, right here we have moneywort, and that's utilized in this beautiful pot here with the boxwoods and the junipers. Right here we have a black liriope.
They look great together.
Awesome. I love the blooms on these. Further down we have wire vine, full sun, really thick ground cover. I love these. I love how they mound in rocky areas. They look beautiful, beautiful in your landscape. Right here we have more moneywort. See how this just hangs down? I love how they use that in this pot.
Good hair day.
And also this is how it would grow on the ground. You see here it just throws out lots of different, what you call stolon, just above ground growers, and as they grow they root.
And then moving next to it?
Well, right here we just have thyme and this mint, Corsican mint. Those guys are great low ground cover herbs. Right here, rosemary. This is a prostrate rosemary, so growing nice and wide, only about 6 inches tall. This is going to be an evergreen, the rosemary. We have another evergreen full sun plant, the dianthus. You guys know that it can grow quite large in a few seasons, maybe almost 2 feet in diameter, giving beautiful blooms in the spring and also throughout the summer sporadically and in the fall again. Here we have all of our sedums, and here at TLC we have an awesome supply of sedums. Right here is one of my newer favorite ones that I've discovered. It's called Chocolate Ball. It's just a beautiful, beautiful color. Here we have purple form, beautiful blue flowers and purple flowers. Variegatum. We have blue spruce, and then our evergreen sedum variety, Angelina, which has a very pretty orange and red color in the fall.
And those would be better to plant closer together.
Yes, but they still can spread quite well.
Great.
Right here we have Delospermum, or ice plant. Beautiful bloomer. This guy will bloom through June all the way into the fall. Right here we have these new varieties that have beautiful color on them. And these guys will bloom so thickly that all you really see is the color as well.
And we're going to finish up looking at some great landscape plants, some terrific ground covers here. Nice job. Thank you. Well, today on Amanda's Advice, we're talking pre-emergent because certainly 'tis the season, isn't it, Amanda?
It is. Fall is a great time to do several things. The first that you want to get down is your pre-emergent on your lawn. As soon as we get any rain or it cools down at all, the weeds will start germinating. And the next thing is...
So on this pre-emergent,
it's the easy grow.
This just sprinkle?
Just spread it on your lawn and water it in. And it does have a mild fertilizer in it as well.
Okay.
The next thing is fall is an excellent time to put down your fescue grass seed. If you do it in the fall, it's more established when it gets hot next summer. You definitely do not want to put the easy grow or the fescue down together. If you are doing fescue, you're going to have to pick one or the other to do because it will prevent any seeds from germinating. And then last fall is also a good time to feed your trees and shrubs. And we have our TLC tree, shrub, and landscape food that you can put down in the fall.
Now, the pre-emergent is so important, and so many of us forget to do it, but it really will save you and your back
Right.
a lot
You
of
do
hassle.
it in August and February, and that's when you prevent the weeds from germinating.
Okay. Well, Amanda, thank you for some great advice.
Thank you.
Well, on today's backyard makeover, we're actually going for a front yard makeover. Cindy Townsend is here, and Cindy, you've done a remarkable job assisting a homeowner with using perennials in the landscape. A lot of times we think perennials, oh, just a perennial bed. This whole place has been outfitted with them.
Oh my gosh, this was one of the most fun and exciting jobs we've done because this is the reason we exist, for me, for TLC, because it's a balance. You've got your trees, your shrubs, your annuals, and your perennials. And the goal here was to get as much season. So the goal here was to get 3 seasons. So we've got our evergreens with the deodora, we've got some sabrooks following behind. Then we've got the calmness of the daylilies, which will give us color. And then we use some carpet roses, which are taking a break. You can't see them right now. But remember, I always talk about sun coleus, you know, to add that little bit of a kick where you need kick. We've got that in here. And then we've got long blooming perennials. So this is the start of what we've incorporated throughout this whole landscape. And I love it. I actually had so much fun putting it together.
Well, it's a huge property, so let's start over here at the corner and just kind of work our way around. And as you can see over here to the right, done a great job with some crepe myrtles that are just showing off beautifully.
You see how wonderful they work with the grasses? I love that feeling that they evoke.
Great combination. So you've taken some of the crepe myrtles over here with a weeping blue atlas, looks like.
Absolutely, yeah, we did. And we've also got some of the roses. These are carpet roses here, the pink carpet roses.
And they don't take much care. You just whack them back in the early spring and they're happy.
These people the people that own this house are very busy and have a busy lifestyle, so they need easy care. And they need things that will perform on their own, so they don't need to be babied. So again, we've got the evergreen in here. We've got a little bit of sedum, because the sedum acts like the sun coleus, where it gives color continually without any effort. And then of course the deodora, which always adds softness and color. And we've got it bermed up so that it drains well. That's the key with the deodoras and the blue atlas and all of those. You need them bermed up so they drain well.
You don't see elephant ears that much, but they really provide a big to-do.
They do. They add a sense of tropical effect. And this, look at the darkness. This is one of the black. Look how beautiful that is. So again, it's double duty. I mean, you've got the big foliage that's really beautiful, but then you've got more color in it than what you would think.
Well, it's kind of interesting in the way that you've combined both what I would call with the cedars with the tropical look. You don't often see that together, and it works really well.
You really don't even put those two together in the same sentence, it seems like, but they really have coexisted really well in this landscape, and I love it. And then look below, we've got the blue atlas cedar, and then we've got the tango agastache. And that puppy's going to go all the way through fall and just continually bloom. And then, of course, we balanced it with our evergreen because we've got the moonshadow euonymus and then the annuals. So again, every segment of this garden is going to have the balance of evergreen with perennial, with annual, with color combination. So right next to the blue atlas, we've got the Concord barberry, and the Concord barberry is probably one of my favorites because it has so much depth of color. And again, it mimics the sun coleus. I mean, it does the same job that the sun coleus does as far as giving color to the garden without much work.
Looks great next to the roses as well.
Yes, it does.
And right below the roses, well, what is that, Cindy?
That's that Walkerslow catmint that we talk about a lot, or nepeta. It actually adds so much to the garden with the aroma and the flower color and that softness that's kind of silvery green. And then right next to it, we've got one of our sedums, and there's so many different colors of sedums and so many different ways that you can use them in the garden, and they bloom late summer into fall. So again, we've got 3 seasons of interest, which is really our goal with this garden.
So past the magnolia, which looks very happy to be there, you've got some wonderful daylilies.
Yeah, we do. We've got some repeat blooming daylilies. I'm not sure which variety the homeowner chose on this one, but it kind of looks like the purple stellas to me, which are repeat bloomers, and I'm sure that's what they used in this garden. And then right next to that, we've got the purple heart, which really, really looks great with that silver princess. And then we've got some perennials back there that aren't really cooperating, but it's not their turn to cooperate. We've got some veronicas and then the salvias that bloom really well in the spring, and then they bloom really well in the fall. That's the greggii. So again, this is a balance. You got evergreen, annuals, perennial.
Yeah, because there really will not be a season where this yard won't look great.
Right.
Because you've got the good bones to it.
And that was the complete intent. And then here we've got some Gora, and then behind that, the kaleidoscope abelia, and that's one of our #1 selling products because it adds, again, so much to the garden. It's going to have this little white flowers showing up pretty soon. And when those little white flowers start blooming, they'll be in clusters on the stems, and it'll almost have a ferny look. And then our heucheras are getting more sun. We had talked about that. We really kept looking at the roof line right here. As they get established, you know, they'll probably be tougher with the amount of sun that they get. But this is what happens when your heucheras are getting too much sun, which I'm kind of glad because now I could show you what you're looking for. Now, as these root systems get established, things will be fine. Southern Comfort's next to that. And again, we've got a nice evergreen. The endless summer hydrangeas in the back. And then if you look at the entryway, we've got all the annuals again saying, here's the entryway, and really drawing attention to that.
So then you've mimicked the evergreen over here, and I love the way that it's been trimmed up. It really does have a nice architecture feel to it.
You know, with all this casual and kind of romantic look over here with the grasses and the crepe myrtles and that softness, then again, you know, we talked about putting the cedars and combining that tropical look. Well, the boxwoods being trimmed like that are almost a formal look, but yet it works so perfectly in here with the knockout roses. And again, annuals, the vinca coming through here, and another blue atlas cedar to bring that blue on over and make the yard more cohesive.
I love this flower bed. This really does create a focal point in the yard, and it's anchored by a couple of nice crepe myrtles.
Well, the thing when we attacked this bed, the thought was, for one, you have curb appeal. So you've got to make sure this front end has a good continual color. And then we also had to step back and look from the doorway and from the windows of the house to see the back side of the bed so that the homeowner can also enjoy it and not worry so much about curb appeal. So, and it is a little bit further away, so we did that mass planting. You know, when we talk about doing things for the people that own the house, we go more onesies, you know, for that intimate, look at this, how beautiful it is. But then when you're talking about curb appeal, you go for mass. So that's why we've got the kaleidoscope in here and the nepeta. It's also good for mass. The sabre golds, again, and the crepe myrtles. And again, the daylilies take the place of a grass. So they give you color and yet softness at the same time.
Great job of combining good foundation plants with some wonderful perennials, Cindy.
Thank you.
Well, we always talk about growing herbs and vegetables, but then how do you use them in real creative ways in the kitchen? Well, Brian and I both love cooking.
Yes.
You know, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen. He's come up with some great creative ideas that you really want to see, and I'm telling you, the smell in here is fantastic.
Great.
Nice
It's
job.
great. I love the smell of herbs. Cooking has become a passion of mine, and kind of as a byproduct of gardening. I had all this produce coming out of the garden, an herb garden, and I thought, well, how am I going to use it? And so I started cooking, and now I enjoy cooking as much as I enjoy gardening.
Yeah. So what kind of herbs do you have at your house?
I have just about everything. I have basil and thyme and rosemary. I have a rosemary that's enormous, that's that big, and I use it for all. It's one of the, in fact, you'll notice when we start talking about this, I've got rosemary in just about everything.
Yeah.
And oregano and just about every herb that you got. And then I've got ornamental herbs like catmint. You know, I grow every herb possible. I also grow things like stevia, which is a sweet substitute for sugar. And so I grow everything, and I like to use everything too.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about whenever you harvest the herbs, it just helps the plant.
That's right. The more that you harvest the herbs, the fuller the plant gets and the more healthy that your plant's going to be.
Yeah, so it works out great for everybody. Well, let's start with this dish first. This
All right.
is just beautiful.
Yes.
And at first I thought it was just a wooden skewer, but it's not.
Yes, that's actually a piece of rosemary that's skewered on, and that's a particular rosemary called barbecue. And I wanted to keep all these recipes very simple. That's important to me when I'm cooking because I'm still not the greatest at it, and so I want to keep all my recipes simple, something that everyone can do. And one thing when you're using a rosemary skewer or any skewer, you want to soak it. So I soak those for about 2 or 3 hours to get them full of water, so when I put them on the grill, they didn't burn up, although they burnt up quite a bit, but they didn't burn completely up. And the way I started this recipe, I started it with a marinade, and that's the key. And I used melted butter, and I know that's not the healthiest thing, but I just love butter. And I actually added a little bit of olive oil in there as well. And then to that, I added about 1/4 cup of this rosemary, chopped very fine, and quite a bit of this lemon thyme. And then this is another one of my favorites. That is lemon verbena. Take a smell of that. It really has a strong lemon smell. And lemon and
it
chicken
does.
to me go
Very
so
fresh.
well together. And so I marinated this chicken in a roasting pan. I just put the oil and the butter and all the herbs together, marinated in a roasting pan for about 8 hours. Then I pulled the roasting pan out of the fridge and put it right in the oven. And I cooked the chicken in the oven to make sure it was done. I didn't want to skewer it with vegetables and then try to burn up the vegetables while I was cooking the chicken. So I just cooked it until it was done. And then last night I skewered it all. And then this morning I put it on the grill for about 10 minutes and just turned it a few times and grilled it fresh this morning.
So you've got not only the marinated chicken, but it looks like red pepper and
And
red onion.
You could also do cherry tomatoes. You can do just about any vegetable that you like. And then I just skewered them on there. And then
Great.
put it on the grill, and it was really easy.
Very pretty. And next to this, I love the look of that. How
Yes,
fun.
that's one of my favorites, and I make that all the time. It makes a great hors d'oeuvre or just a snack. And what this is it's mozzarella cheese cut into cubes. And then I made a marinade for that, and that marinade for that has everything in it. It's got rosemary, a whole bunch of rosemary. It's got thyme. It's got oregano. It's got parsley. And then I marinate make the marinade, and then that is sun-dried tomato, and that it's also a basil leaf. So each one gets a sun-dried tomato and a basil leaf on top of it. And then I pour the marinade over it. Before I put these in, I pour the marinade over it and then let it sit overnight in the marinade to get the cheese really, the herb flavor infused into the cheese.
Yeah, and these are the sun-dried tomatoes that are already packed.
Those are the sun-dried tomatoes.
Okay.
And also a little garlic powder goes in the marinade as well. And then the base of the marinade is olive oil.
And so is that the same kind of rosemary, that barbecue that has the strong stick to it?
Yes, it sure is.
You can use just a regular, stick. I mean,
Yeah, any rosemary will do it. Any skewer will do.
Yeah.
But I think it looks so cool with the rosemary.
awesome.
And then you can pick it up with the rosemary and just eat it just like that with the rosemary stick. And I also use several different colors of basil. You notice that's a white variegated basil. I use some green basil. And then I use some purple basil just to add some color variation to them. And then
whatever you've got coming out in your garden.
that's right. And then this morning I just stuck all of the skewers in there, and it was ready to go. Again, both of these are things you can prepare beforehand and real easy if you have a party coming up or something like that.
Great appetizers. They're very colorful.
Yes.
So what's next to it?
This is another one of my favorites. This is a dip that I use for crackers or chips, and it's again very, very simple dip. And it starts with this whipped cream cheese, and it's got 2 cartons of whipped cream cheese in it, and about a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And you can use low fat. I don't. I use the real stuff. And then it's got salt and pepper. And then it's got these herbs here. It's got oregano and thyme and parsley and a whole bunch of finely diced garlic. And then, again, you put it in the refrigerator overnight, and all those flavors blend together. And you can use it with crackers, or you can use it with chips. And real easy, real simple.
That's very. And by the way, in case you're not writing any of this down, as I don't expect you to do, we are going to have this on at tlcgarden.com and also on our Facebook page.
That's right.
And so then you have another one, and I couldn't figure out what to call this after you told me what was in it. But this is something that you and your kids make a lot.
Yes, this is one of my daughter Jessica's favorites, and she makes it all the time after school because it's just so easy to make, and it's also very healthy. I know some of this other stuff had a lot of butter and oil in it. This is relatively healthy. It has got Greek yogurt, and make sure to do the vanilla Greek yogurt. I tried it with regular Greek yogurt, and it doesn't. It's not quite as good. It's not quite as sweet as with the vanilla Greek yogurt. And then you just put the Greek yogurt. That's 2 cups of Greek yogurt, a little bit of vanilla, a couple tablespoons of honey to give it some sweetness, and very little of the cinnamon. It's probably got an eighth of a teaspoon of cinnamon because it's really easy to overdo the cinnamon. And all you do is mix all that up, and you can use, oh yeah, the biggest thing is mint. And I love mint, and you can see there's so much mint. That's the only herb in there. There's probably 50 or 60 mint leaves, over probably close to a half a cup of mint leaves that I chopped up really fine, and then I put it in there. And again, it's best to do it ahead of time because then you put it in the refrigerator and all those flavors will meld together and really come out nice the next day, which is great because if you're having a party or something like that, it's great to get it done early.
Exactly. And so you serve this with fruit.
Yes, I serve this with, my daughters always do with apples, but I think it would be great with strawberries. It would be great with just about any type of a fruit at all.
Oh, this is fantastic. Well, then, so if someone is motivated, they're seeing what you're doing here, and they're like, man, I'd really like to have an herb garden. I never have. Give us some ideas about what would you recommend if you had, say, a relatively small space. Give us like your top 4 or 5 herbs.
You can't go wrong with rosemary because it comes back every year.
Yeah.
And I always like basil. It's easy to grow from seed. You can't go wrong with oregano and thyme. And then I always like to grow a little bit of parsley as well. And if you have limited space, remember you can do herbs in containers, and they do great in containers. And I like that because you can put them on the back patio, on the deck, and that way they're easy access. And I've always found if you keep your herbs close to the kitchen, you'll be more likely to use those herbs.
Absolutely.
If they're far off in the yard, you have to walk a long ways, you're a lot less likely to use those herbs.
And you can stick them in with other container plants too.
That's right. Herbs are beautiful and do wonderful in the garden.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Brian. I'm proud of you. You're doing great.
Let's eat.
Well, here we are, August 11th, the middle of the month already, the dog days of summer. You got some marching orders for us?
Yes, I do.
You need to be kind. It's hot out there.
Yes, but there's some things you just need to do before it cools off. And you need to apply that pre-emergent now. Because when the fall rains start, and sometimes they start mid-August, I can remember one August we had 15 rainy days in a whole month, and in August. So you need that pre-emergent out because as soon as it starts raining, or the first cooling rain, the dandelions and the henbit are going to start germinating. So let's get the pre-emergent on. It has a little bit of fertilizer in it. It'll work great. But that, I'll just give you one marching order.
Yeah, well, that's a good one.
This time.
That'll make life a lot easier.
Oh, yes.
In a few months. Well, time now for Best of Show, and this is the time we love to brag on you. You all do such creative things, and who do we have today? The winner, by the way, earns a $25 gift certificate here to TLC.
They do, and it's Debbie Taylor. And I love the perennial hibiscus, and they're just absolutely gorgeous, and it's one of those things that we grow a lot of because they are so pretty. And they have big old dinner plate blooms, and this one's a soft pink with a deep pink throat. And then there's red ones and all, but they have been outstanding this year, so I think this hibiscus deserves a prize.
Well, and I know Hawaii is one of your favorite places on earth.
Yes.
It has a very Hawaiian feel to it.
Yes, they do.
Sure. All right, thank you, Linda. And thanks for joining us this weekend on TLC's Let's Talk Gardening. We'll join us again next Saturday morning at 8 right here on News 9. We'll see you then.